let's go through the do it for the day.
Yes, I did.
Why is there so much distraction? All right. I really, really, really like these reflection sheets. I think it's such a critical part of the work that we do to take a moment to step back. Now, we do a little of it every day with the quizzes, but I like having the reflection sheet 1 or 2 days a week to make sure that we're being a little more formal about it. And unfortunately, one of the consequences of that is that sometimes kids get a little bit distracted when it's time to step up and start doing some work. And I need you to get yourself focused back again. I'm kind of unfocused because I'm looking for my, there it is, okay. Excuse me. So what happens is you now need to instantly go from communicating with other kids to lock in on the lesson, okay? I have a question in about how to fix this so that I don't have to constantly do this every day. So hopefully soon I will no longer have to do this. Okay. I actually think I might be able to figure it out without anybody's help, but we'll see. All right, so I noticed that on that last page of homework, some people had a problem with those questions, and they're very similar to this do it. So let's go through each of these do it questions, and at the same time, we'll handle any questions that you might have had from yesterday's work. F of x is equal to x squared plus 9x. Now, a lot of times people read this exactly the way I just said it. They say f of x is equal to x squared plus 9x. But there's no real understanding of what it is that's going on. Another example of that might be when you get a little kid, and the little kid says, I'm sorry. The little kid's not sorry. He doesn't care. He has, in his mind, he has equated sorry with I don't get in trouble. It doesn't have to do, sorry, the word sorry comes from the root of the English word sorrow. Sorrow means to feel bad about something. The little kid doesn't feel bad at all. The little kid doesn't care. The little kid simply knows if I say I'm sorry, then mom and dad are not going to yell at me, and I'm not going to get beat. So therefore, just say you're sorry. You've all been through that stage. Yes, Spencer?
I have like different stuff on my page. It says like -2 instead of the 2 for number 2, and then it says H2 instead of H1.
I have two.
1.
All right, I'll adjust that in just a second. Now, thank you. All right, so unfortunately, when people read this, they're very flippant about it. They're very casual. And they say f of x is equal to x squared plus 9x. Instead of saying to themselves, and this is how you should really interpret this, the function f takes the input, squares the input, and adds 9 times the input. Now, you said, Spencer, it's a 2 here?
Yeah.
Okay. So this would become 2 squared plus 9 times 2. So I take the input, or f takes the input, squares it, and adds 9 times that input. So according to the order of operations, the first thing I do is exponents. What's 2 squared? 4. Plus, what's 9 times 2? 18, because I have to do the multiplication next. And 4 plus 18 is 22. And that's the best way to reason your way through these particular problems.
Wait, what does H2 represent?
Wait, what is that? say?
H2, that means H of 2. The 2 is going in the place of the x. So like the 2 is in place of the x here, it also substitutes for the x here and the x here. So you just keep putting a 2 every place you see an x.
What's being added to 4? 'Cause I can't read it.
That says 18. Now, the next part, it says f of x equals negative x squared. What is the output if the input is 2? And this is a really important question. What we're getting at here is, what does it mean to say negative x squared? So this becomes negative 2 squared. And the real question is, does this equal 4 or does this equal negative 4? And the answer is that it equals negative 4. Mhm. There's a big difference in these two statements. Negative 2 squared and negative 2 squared. And it all has to do with the order of operations. Oh, what was the number on your page?
-2.
So f of negative 2?
Yeah.
It doesn't change the answer. It's still going to be Let's see, I plug in a -2, so this means, well, let me go back to this in the explanation, and then I'll get to the actual problem, okay? So this is not exactly the numbers from here, I just want to explain this, then we'll come back to it. -2 squared, the squared is outside the parentheses, so it means do the whole -2 times -2. And what is -2 times -2? Positive 4. Good. This means square the 2, then negate it. Technically, this means -1 times 2 squared. We just don't bother to write the 1 in front. Just like x is really 1x. And x squared is really 1x squared. Negative x squared is really -1 times x squared. So when I see negative x squared here, it means square the x, then negate it. So if I come back over here and I square, this example was 2. If I square 2, what's 2 squared? 4. Then I negate it, so I get -4. Now let's go over here and take a look at this. This says the negative of -2 squared. So what is -2 squared?
4.
4, because -2 times -2 is 4. Then I have to negate it. So the final answer is -4. So the issue here is not an issue of squaring per se. It's an issue of when do I square and when do I negate. Kids who get it wrong negate before they square. But you have to understand that to negate means to multiply by -1. And in the order of operations, exponents come before multiplication. So you have to do the exponent first. Another good example is right here. On your paper, mine this says f of -5. What is it on yours? -4? Okay. So this means 2 times -4 squared minus 3 times -4 plus 7. So again, do the exponent first. What's -4 squared? -4 times -4. What do we get?
16.
16. So it's 2 times 16 minus 3 times -4 plus 7. What is 2 times 16? 32. What's -3 times -4? 12 plus 7. 32 plus 12 is 44. 44 plus 7 is 51. And 51 is the correct answer. So it seems to me, going through the first 3 questions, that the 2 big points of emphasis that we really need to make sure that we understand are, first and foremost, when we say something like f of x is x squared plus 9x, and then we say a, f, h, or whatever, the 2 goes in place of the x. The 2 becomes the input, x stands for input. The next thing to understand is where and when do those exponents go, and then when do the negatives go. Exponents are done before the negative in front, because the negative in front really means -1 times, and exponents are done before multiplication. Questions? All right, so let's go now to the next one. And the next question's phenomenally easy. I just don't think we had much time to get to it yesterday. But in a couple of days, you'll look at this question as the easiest thing going. What would the equation h of t be for an object thrown through the air from a height of 8 feet with an upper velocity of 12 feet? Remember your A, B, and C from yesterday's lesson. Now, what we said yesterday was that for the flight of an object, it's h of t equals at squared plus bt plus c. Now, A is always the effect of gravity. And A will always be one of these 2 things, either -16 or -9.8. Always. Very rarely in this course can I say always. I can on this one. -16 is if you're using the English system of measurement, which is feet, and -9.8 is if you're using the metric system, which is meters. Okay? It just so happens 9.8 and 16, 9.8 meters per second, 16 feet per second, they work out to be the same. Now, B is the upward velocity, and C is the starting or initial height. So just remembering what A, B, and C are, you just read the problem and plug the things in as they go along. So in this problem, what would A be? Everybody?
-16.
Good. What would B be? Everybody? 12, because it goes upward velocity of 12 feet per second. And don't forget the t squared, and don't forget the t. And what's the initial height? 8. Done. Okay, so if you just remember this template, if you will, I have a Jeep that I really have to get out of the garage and get running. I haven't run it in probably 8 months. I also have to pay the insurance on it before I start running it. It's a 1955 Willys Jeep, and my grandfather found it years and years. He found it back in like 1972. Rotted out in the back of a school. He bid $200.25 or 50 cents. He won the bid on it, and it was all rusted out. We wound up fixing it. And the way we fixed it is we took pieces of cardboard, we put them in the holes, we sketched out on the hole exactly how big the hole was, then he would cut a piece of metal. And he would cut the metal to the shape of the hole, and then he would weld the metal into the hole. And that's how he fixed all the rust holes that were on the Jeep. And that process is called making a template. A template is something that fits, makes it fit into the hole that's needed. The template here is h of t equals at squared plus bt plus c. And you just need to find a, b, and c. A is always either -16 or -9.8. B is always the upward velocity, and c is always the height from which you start. Okay, any questions? All right. So now, today is a lot like yesterday. We did the experiment yesterday where we dropped the ball, blah, blah, blah. Let's do a little bit more of these at squared plus bt plus c guys, okay? Quadratics, by the way, this is called a quadratic, and a quadratic is whenever you see something squared, and you should have graphed these last year. It makes a parabola. Do you guys remember the shape called a parabola? It's like a U.
Yeah, that's the quadratic. It's like the regular quadratic.
Anything squared always makes the shape of a U, okay? So that is what we're going to explore a tremendous amount of in class this year. All right, so like some of the questions that you guys chose to do on your reflection sheets, here's 3 equations, or 3 functions, 1, 2, and 3, and here's where we need you to evaluate them. Talk to people around you. I will give you about maybe a minute and a half to get those done, and then we'll go over the answers on the board. Go ahead. Talk to people, don't be quiet. Okay, well, here's the rule.
Quad is 4. It's the same thing.
How do you find the area of a square? Side times side. So this is the square. This one is 0 times 0, 1 times 1. Okay. Folks, excuse me. Let's go through step by step and see what we got. So, it might make sense. Different people operate better in different modes. Some people can look at this and say, okay, I have to take the input, because x is input, right? It's domain, x is input. I have to square the input, then do -3 times the input, put it all together. So if I plug in a 3, 3 squared is?
Wait, it's a 5.
Oh, on your paper it's a 5?
Yeah.
Okay, 5 squared is? 25. And then 3 times 5 is 15, and then 25 minus 15 is 10. But some people are much better off writing that. Just show yourself it, see it. Put a 5 in place of the x's. Then this just becomes an evaluate question, like you would have done last year and the year before. What is 5 squared? Just order of operations, everybody.
25.
25, and then I multiply minus 15, and 25 minus 15 is 10. So one way is not better than the other. It's better for individuals. I would always do them in my head. And I was always the kind of kid who got something stupid wrong on every test. So I never got 100. I get 97, 98, 99
That's
when you get
good.
100. It is good, it's very good, but I always did something stupid, like I did on the homework. I'm famous for it. Question entry.
Fine. Wouldn't the redo have the same answer because if you multiply series is negative x, and if you multiply negative x by negative 5, you'll still get 5.
Well, let's take that and check it out. Let's do the technique here. Hold this real quick. This would be negative 25 minus 40 is what you would get here. If that was, oh, I'm sorry. Negative 25, that was a negative 5. That was plus 15, negative 10.
Yeah, the thing is, the x and 5 are negative.
Yeah, but the x is not negative. This means square it, then negate it. Always remember, when you see negative x squared, it's square then negate, square then negate. This is the order of operation. Okay? Hasta la vista, vaya con Dios, toodaloo, ta-ta. Arrivederci. That's it, smile a lot, ciao. Arrivederci, adios amigos y amigas. Cheerio, carushus, katafes. Have a good one.